All right, I think we're live. Yeah,
After technical difficulties and all sorts of other fun stuff, we are finally live.
yeah, damn computers, all that other garbage. But welcome to the BDSM podcast. All the people that have been following us for how many weeks now. I'm glad that you are back and listening to our shenanigans. But
Mm-hmm.
I am Professor Porkloin, and I'm here with my co-host,
The Meat Viking.
and we are still continuing our journey around the United States, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
We are into the M's. And today we are gonna talk about Minnesota.
We are.
So, man, I've been to Minnesota, but it really was only for a day, and so I can't say that I've truly experienced Minnesota. But I have to say, just looking up some of the foods, it's I mean, white people, like that's it.
White people.
But
You, I wish I could say you're wrong, but you're not.
yeah, I mean,
There could be a reason for that. Is it has a supreme Swedish and Finnish influence in Minnesota.
it does, and that's crazy to think about. That like all these Nordic countries have these big influence over in Minnesota. So like I could totally see that. But also the fact that it's cold as shit, probably 10 months out of the year. So
Yep.
only people who really want to deal with that crap live there.
Mm-hmm.
So but I don't know, man. What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking tea. It is an early morning, relatively, and I haven't quite popped the bottles yet. So I'll be drinking a nice tea. Now, how
Okay.
how about you, good sir?
Well, it is also morning, so I have not popped the bottles yet either. So I'm just gonna have a soda. I'm having some Sprite.
Nice.
So nothing too crazy today for the foodies, but yeah, sometimes it's just one of those things. But we do have our safe word, and we think it's actually pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. It is chef's hat.
So if you look at the map of the United States, and someone actually drew this, and I don't know if you could pull it up, but you look at Minnesota, and then as you start going down, you can see that Iowa has the little dip for the nose, and then Missouri, Kansas, or Arkansas, and then Louisiana. That's basically the chef. So Minnesota is the hat, and then if you go to Tennessee, it's like Tennessee is the pan and Kentucky is the chicken. So there's your Kentucky Fried Chicken
Mm-hmm.
reference there.
Yep.
So chef's hat, Minnesota sounds like
Yeah,
a good safe word.
it does. It does. Uh
So what's one of the first things that you found?
so this is something that would bring me to Minnesota and would get me kidnapped if somebody came around and was like free desserts and was in a shady van. I would probably approach said shady van. So apparently Minnesota is known for dessert bars. Um
Okay.
Similar to cookies, bars are not condensed cookies but require no dough measuring. Essentially they're like bars. Think of like a Rice Krispie treat or like a Buckeye fudge is what you would normally think of, right? But there are actually like places in Minnesota where they are famous for having like almost flights of desserts and like serving them with milk. I'm trying to pull up some here. Like Edward's Dessert Kitchen, you've got the waffle bar, another waffle bar. Sadly, most of these are closed right now. Yeah, you have all sorts of waffle bars and dessert bars in Minnesota to get you your little sweet tooth on. And I
That
thought that
sounds
was super interesting. So,
Yeah. So when I went, I actually went for the Frozen Four, because one of my friends, he's from Michigan, and Michigan was in the Frozen Four, and he goes, "Hey man, you want to drive all the way up to Minnesota, watch the Frozen Four, and then come back?" And I'm like, "Well, I ain't got shit to do this weekend, so let's go. Literally drove like the 11 hours or 14 hours, whatever. Went there, watched, and then drove all the way back. So, um, it was in St. Paul, so I know it's close to the Minneapolis, and I know Minnesota's freaking huge, going all the way up to that part of the top of it.
Mhm.
So I don't even know like Park Rapids, any of those other ones that are up that way, except for St. Paul, Minneapolis. And I mean, the city was pretty cool, so I could totally see them having shit like dessert bars and whatnot. But yeah, I can't say that I have thoroughly enjoyed Minnesota. Plus, it was also some of that winter time, and it was cold as shit.
Yeah. You need a
But
good coat. A
yeah, but
good
one of the
coat.
things that I feel like would be kind of cool to try, and it's kind of close to your dessert thing, is the popovers. So a popover is basically like a crispy on the outside and kind of like eggy pudding-ish style on the inside.
Mm.
And it almost looks like they put it in a souffle cup, and it's like baked so that it looks like a big dome.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you can just basically crack those bad boys open and just start eating them. So think of kind of like
A
a bread pudding style.
okay. I was thinking originally like a molten lava cake.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
doesn't have all the molten in the middle. It's more of like bread pudding.
Ah. Which is still equally delicious.
Yeah, I would totally eat the hell out of those things. So,
Mhm.
um, I guess these popovers are like really popular up that way, and it's again kind of that Scandinavian leaning meal, because they I feel like that's kind of what they eat.
Yep. Yep. I think you're right. Now I'm gonna kind of like segue a little bit over here, and another thing, and this is more in the Minneapolis area, is apparently pho is super popular among there because Minneapolis has a huge Vietnamese community. Um, and it's one of the better places to get, your traditional Vietnamese dishes. Some that you could try are pho 79, pho ta Bay, and the Quang restaurant are some of the ones that this website here recommends. But whenever I think of pho, I usually crave it around this time of year because I'm tired of eating soup and ramen and I want something with some more taste to it. So, yeah.
It's kind of weird, how we're talking about how there's this huge like Scandinavian um, influence, but then you get pho as
Right, which is why I wanted to bring it up because it was we're under the topic of influences and yet this is kind of parallel to that, you know. You
yeah.
know. Now, if you want to go on the American influence, I think you and I both have had this before. Cheese curds.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with some cheese curds.
Mm-mm.
You
Yep.
got to have those bad boys fried. You ever have
Oh,
them fried?
oh, always. It's the only way to do it, man.
100%.
So,
Like whoever invented fried cheese curds, I feel like I need to take them out for a beer and say thank you for your contribution to society.
yes. So, uh, often found as an appetizer or a side dish, cheese curds are an essential, important Minnesota food, as nothing pairs better with beer than a crisp curd. Recommend the Red Cow to pair cheese curds with their berry flavored ketchup if you like it a more sweet, or Bull's Horn to do Thousand Island, which is one of the more common ways to serve it where I'm from. However, they got one that intrigues me is a flaming hot cheese curds cloaked in habanero cheddar, and
That
you can
just
get that at the
sounds
Blue Door Pub, which I would go that route.
that just sounds dangerous when you say flaming hot cheese curds.
Yeah.
But I thought that Wisconsin was probably the state for all the cheese stuff. Like I get that some states are probably close, since Minnesota's right there, but I really thought that the big popular thing up that way was in Wisconsin for the cheese curds.
And I think I'm going to give you that argument right there. However, based upon research, Minneapolis doesn't have a whole bunch. So we're going to give them cheese curds, but we'll go into cheese as a whole when we get to Wisconsin.
Okay, I was gonna say because I feel like Wisconsin's gonna be like, hey, all we got is cheese
Yeah.
and football.
Yep. Yep. So,
One of the other ones that I saw that was pretty cool, and I think people would totally eat because a lot of times people eat salmon anyway because of like locks and whatnot. But they have this stuff called gravlax, and it's a Nordic dish. So again, more of those influences, and it's actually salmon that's cured using salt and sugar, and they put dill or spruce twigs on top of it, and then they smoke it.
mm,
So I think a lot of people eat that for breakfast, and I would totally give that a try because of lox, because I've had that on a bagel and everything. So I didn't even think that because there's an American Swedish Institute in Minnesota. It's up in Minneapolis.
huh,
That apparently this place is the one that showcases the fact that they have gravlax. And
interesting.
yeah, I guess a lot of people eat it with an egg and coffee for breakfast, but they've also done some lunch and dinner meals that have salads and stuff along with it too. So I would like that because I like dill flavoring anyway, and I think that goes great with salmon.
Yeah, that is true. That is
So,
true. You know what
but
also goes good with dill is walleye. And
yeah,
walleye is another popular fish from Minnesota because you're all right there near the Great Lakes, and it is tends to be one of the more sought after fish in the area because you can find it pretty much everywhere up there versus where I'm at, you only get a little bit. So,
yeah, but where you're at though, I mean, walleye is pretty popular up that way too. But I think what because the season is so short that you
hmm
don't really see a whole lot of it.
yeah, correct. Because I think the season only runs like twice a year for 2 or 3 weeks apiece here, whereas I think in Minnesota they run longer because it's colder.
Yeah.
So, but
Well, walleye, we can talk more about that when we get to Ohio. Because if I don't know, we might have some more stuff to chat about. But I just didn't think that walleye was that far north.
yep,
And I guess it could be found in all the lakes, right? Is it in Lake Michigan and Lake Huron?
I would assume so. Don't
Because
quote
I
me on that.
because I only know that it's coming from Lake Erie, and then it as obviously it goes into some of the rivers that come out of that. But
Where can walleye be found? Arctic south to the Great Lakes.
no, so there's a lot of
Yep.
places for them.
hmm
Okay,
And apparently,
well,
if you go to like Canada, Quebec is a good spot to find it.
you learn something new every day.
Right?
Um, did you look up hot dishes?
I did.
I thought I remember you saying that. You
Yeah.
want to go for that one?
Yeah. A hot dish is a dish that typically contains starch, meat, canned or frozen vegetable mixed with canned soup. Must be served hot or warm. Classic example is made with ground beef topped with tater tots, flavored with condensed cream and mushroom soup. But some versions in Minnesota use the official state grain, which is wild rice, or even macaroni in place of potatoes. This originates from the upper Midwest origin of the United States, where it remains popular, particularly in Minnesota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, and eastern Montana. Hot dish is cooked in a simple baking dish, served hot per its name. It's common among communal gatherings such as family reunions, potlucks, and church suppers. And kind of history here is that it goes back to budget-minded farm wives who needed to feed their own families and as well as help feed the church. So, but I mean, I've had hot dish before. Hot dish is
uh,
delicious.
I was gonna say, what's your take on the hot dish?
Dude, I love hot dish.
Okay.
So,
What kind did you have? Did you have like beef or chicken or
so I've had variations. I've had chicken. I've had tuna noodle casserole done in hot dish form.
okay?
So that was super good.
That almost sounds like white people food right there.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. It is. I'm not gonna lie, but it's tasty.
I mean, tater tots, you can't go wrong, or even just cheese on just about anything. I feel
Yep.
like will cover some of your stuff.
Yeah. And see the tater tots when we did like the tuna noodle casserole, they act almost as croutons. Like it's the best way to describe it. I don't know how else. Like they're overcooked, but not in a bad way.
Yeah,
So, but the thing about it is you've probably had some variation of a hot dish, whether you've known it or not. I mean, if you
probably.
because like you're looking at a starch, it doesn't have to be tater tots. So if you've
Yeah,
ever had a shepherd's pie in your life, hot dish.
I almost feel like some of the breakfasts I've had have been like hot dish because you know that that diner we used to go to
Yep,
way back when would have all the cheese and shit, and it'd basically be set in a cast iron skillet, you know.
yep,
So I kind
yep.
of feel like it's related to a hot dish because of the bacon and whatnot. But
Yeah, I mean the only difference because it had the starch, it had the meat, didn't really have any noodles, and instead of cream soup, they used gravy. So
yeah.
I mean, it's delicious.
So what you're saying is probably great hungover food, right? Like
Oh, 100%.
you're all hungover and you're like, oh, what kind of greasy shit do I need here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the most common types of hot dishes are any casserole, a tuna noodle casserole, green bean casserole, funeral potatoes, which I've never heard of. Um, but yeah,
The hell, funeral potatoes?
I'm gonna click on it, okay? They are also known as great potatoes, cheesy potatoes, hash brown casserole. It is a
Oh,
traditional potato hot dish or casserole popular in the American Intermountain West and Midwest. Called funeral potatoes because it's commonly served as a side dish during
sure.
traditional after funeral dinners.
Yeah.
It's also served at potlucks, so uh, but yeah, it's essentially cheesy potatoes baked in casserole form,
Yeah.
which also tasty. So,
Yeah. I mean, you throw some food in front of me, I'm gonna wind up eating it anyway, especially if it's got cheese and potatoes or whatever. So don't discriminate against that.
no. So,
But I
no.
know, I know of one that I saw that I feel like is we've kind of talked about it already, and it's the stew, but it's called booyah, and
Booyah!
yeah. So apparently it's a stew that originated in Belgium. So again, those type of countries with that influence, and it's basically made throughout the upper Midwest. So the UP, the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, and I guess it takes up to 2 days because you kind of have to start it out with a broth, and then they throw some vegetables in it, and you could either do beef, chicken, pork, and they have their own kettle. It's it's called a booyah kettle, and I guess it's made so that people can do it around social events, and they could feed a lot of people with it.
Hmm.
So I just feel like we've kind of mentioned about booyah, and but in different forms from our previous episodes. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there and say, listeners, if you're thinking about wondering what the booyah is or more in depth of that, you can go back to one of our older episodes when we were talking about stews and soups and kind of learn more about how some of those things are actually called stews. Um, but it is definitely one thing that's only in the UP for Michigan, which you can reference that one in a previous episode, Wisconsin and Minnesota, and it's like done at county fairs.
Hmm.
So I guess if you really want it to be cold and you want to be warm up, then make yourself some booyah stew.
Right. Well,
Which I guess the other thing too, I don't know if you had anything else, but from one of my other research is that I guess county fairs are stupid popular up that way too, and that everybody goes to the fair. And obviously, we might need to talk about this later on. Maybe we could do a fair food episode. We didn't do that yet, did we?
I don't think so. I would be down for
No,
that.
because I feel like we can do that. That would probably be a good idea. Because man, there are tons of fair foods, and from what I've read is that I guess anything in Minnesota is if you deep fry it and put it on a stick, people will eat it.
They're not wrong. I mean, they aren't wrong.
Yeah,
So,
so I think that we'll probably talk about that later on, but fair food, um, we'll save you for later.
hmm.
So
I got two things here. I'm going to send one of them over to you. And I'm going to talk about the Juicy Lucy.
she's a hooer.
Is she still Hoover? No, I think you and I both like the Juicy Lucy. Okay.
Yeah,
It is a stuffed burger with cheese inside the meat instead of on top, resulting in a melted core of cheese. Now, two bars in Minneapolis claim to be the inventor of this burger, while other restaurants have created their own style. Those two bars are 3 miles apart, each on Cedar Avenue in southern Minneapolis. Both claim to have invented the burger are Matt's Bars and the 5-8 Club. So you've got a little bit of drama here if you want to look more into that. They do offer slightly different versions of it. Um, Matt's removes the letter I in juicy, supposed as an inadvertent spelling dating to the burger's creation, while the 5-8 Club has the normal spelling. Shorts worn by the staff at the 5-8 Club is if it's spelled right, it's done right. While Matt's bar says, remember, if it's spelled correctly, you're eating a shameless ripoff. So the rivalry between both bars and interpretations is long-standing, but gained more exposure mention in Time Magazine 2008 after being featured in food-related television shows such as Man vs. Food and Food Wars. In 2014, President Barack Obama visited Matt's and had a Juicy Lucy, prompting the 5-8 Club to offer him one of theirs. No comment after that. And in 2018, the editors of The Thrillist wrote the Juicy Lucy is an important milestone in the evolution of hamburgers themselves. So,
sign me up.
yep. Now I've had like steak burgers before, and that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Okay.
So, or is it a pizza burger? I think it's called, where you got like pizza sauce on top, but they stuff the cheese in the middle.
Oh yeah, I've seen those before too.
Yeah. Either way, super good. If you like yourself a hamburger, try yourself some version of a Juicy Lucy. And all you have to do is while you're prepping your hamburger, just take some cheese, the kind of cheese you like, put it in the middle of the patty, and seal it up, and then cook it. So, because then while you're cooking that burger, that cheese is going to melt on the inside, and then your meat is going to be, super juicy because of all that cheese melting. Be super good.
Interesting. Yeah, I I'd give it a shot. I don't know where I'd find one around here, but I think
Make
the
your
next
own.
time up, yeah, I could probably make my own.
Yeah. Take some Colby Jack and some, what is it like, 97.3, just burger meat and make it that way. So,
So the one thing that you sent me, I don't even know. This is some again white people shit.
dude, you've never had this? This is
No, I
delicious.
have never had a cookie salad before.
Dude, it's
What
so
kind of
good.
what kind of crap is that, man?
It's so good.
Uh, I I was just looking at some of the reviews, and some people are like, "Oh, this is great. It's the best thing in the world," and then other people are like, "Why did I even make this? This is a waste of all ingredients." I
it,
wonder if it's because of the buttermilk.
yeah, I'm sure it is. Because it's buttermilk is one of those things you either like or you don't like.
You ever have buttermilk? Just taste it straight up.
Nah.
Oh my god! So when I make fried chicken, I usually use that as my one of my binders. And man, I one time I was like, let's just see what this tastes like, and I took a little swig. That shit's tangy as hell. It's like, oh god, don't do that ever again.
So we're gonna show the foodies what this looks like because you had such an adverse response to it.
Yeah, because of the damn like
It
I don't even
doesn't
know what
look
kind of
bad.
cookies that are on top of that.
Like that's some Keebler Elf cookies right there. You know?
Yeah,
Like that maybe that was where they had wronged. But like this right here looks like you just got some lemon cookie, maybe a shortbread. Like
I don't know, the fudge strip cookies with mandarin orange.
look,
I don't know. Looking at the pudding mix with the buttermilk and then the whipped topping and whatnot, and then you just throw everything else in there.
yeah.
I don't know. I'd give it a shot, but if it was like on the menu, I'd probably be like, nah, I'm gonna go for something else. But if it was at like a potluck, I'd probably go, let's take a little scoop of this and see if I like it.
Yeah. That's fair. I will eat the cookie salad.
Yeah,
Okay.
man, you can eat all the cookie salad you want.
Yeah.
We'll leave more room for you.
More room for me. It's just harmless fun.
Yeah, but I wonder what person came up in Minnesota, because apparently it's popular up that way, and just go, I'm just gonna take this shit and put it in a bowl and then put it in the fridge and just give it to my kids because that's all I have in my pantry right now.
That's probably exactly what had happened.
See
So,
what had happened was,
what had happened was,
but yeah, you know what? More power to the people if you're gonna have that. So I'll take your word for it, and if I happen to come around, maybe I'll just go. I'll have a little scoop.
just a little scoop.
Yep.
Well, sometimes a little scoop is all it takes.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe that little scoop will be like, all right, I can eat this.
That's how they get you. It's like drug dealers. They'd be like, the first hit's free, and then like you dip your little spoon in cookie salad, and the next thing you know, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Your wife's wondering why you aren't in bed, and you're like, I gotta make more cookie salad.
You'd be like Cookie Monster. Be like, nom 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 nom.
uh, so
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else about Minnesota,
no,
so
I don't either.
I think this one's probably coming around to the end on that one.
uh,
So we can, I guess, have you take us out.
yeah. Let us know how you feel about cookie salad and like Lucy Juicy. Would you go to a cookie bar? Leave your answer down in the comments for us. And thank you all for listening to today's episode. I have been the Meat Viking along with my wonderful co-host,
Professor Porkloin.
and we'll see you in the next one.